Hola clase, today we are going to be taking notes over nouns and then adjectives. First things first, you all know that nouns refer to people, places, and things. And as you may remember from Spanish 1, in Spanish, nouns have gender. A noun is either masculine or feminine, but it has absolutely nothing to do with whether a noun is something that a boy has or a girl has. There is no rhyme or reason to why a table is feminine and a book is masculine in Spanish. So how do you know if a noun is masculine or feminine? Because of the way they end. Usually nouns end in o, a, os, or as. A noun that ends in o or os is always masculine. A noun that ends in a or as is usually feminine. But just in case the ending does not in fact tell us what gender a noun has, when we learn nouns for the first time, we learn them with their definite articles to say the. And these definite articles show us if a noun is in fact masculine or feminine. If a noun is singular and masculine, we use the article L in front of it to say the. If a noun is singular and feminine, we use la in front of it. And if we want to make these plural, L changes to los and la changes to las. Or sometimes when we first learn a noun, we learn it with its indefinite article. Un and una mean a and or one. Unos and unas mean some. Un and unos are masculine. Una and unas are feminine. Okay, let's talk about nouns and adjectives now. You probably remember from Spanish 1 that nouns must agree in gender and number with the nouns that they are modifying or describing. Adjectives that end in the letter O or R can modify or describe masculine nouns, and adjectives that are describing feminine nouns end in a or sometimes ra. For example, tall and hardworking. If I want to say that a boy is tall, I would say, for example, John es alto. If I want to say a boy is hardworking, I would say John es trabajador. This ends in an O, so it can describe John, and this ends in an R, so it can describe John as well. But if I wanted to say instead that Anna is tall, I would say Ana es alta. And if I wanted to say that Anna is hardworking, I would have to say Ana es trabajadora and make both of those feminine. There are some adjectives that can describe a boy or a girl without changing their spelling. These adjectives end in the letter E or any other consonant besides the letter R. For example, both of the adjectives that you know to describe someone that is smart work this way. Inteligente can describe either John or Anna without changing its spelling, and so can intelectual. If I want to make or need to make any adjective plural, I can add s if the adjective ends in a vowel, or I need to add es if the adjective ends in a consonant. So inteligente would become inteligentes. I would just add the letter s, but intelectual would have to become intelectuales, where I add es. If you are using a noun and an adjective directly next to one another, don't forget that in Spanish, usually the adjective comes after the noun. This is very important because in English, we say red book, but in Spanish, we are essentially saying book red. El libro rojo. Okay, one more thing to finish your notes. We are going to write down some example sentences in English, and in class, we will write down the correct way to say them in Spanish. So please write down each of these sentences in English, skip 2 blank lines after each one to leave room for us to write down the Spanish translation and 1 blank line before the next one. So please write these sentences down carefully and leave 2 blank lines after each one. If you are feeling especially ambitious, please try to write these in Spanish in pencil so you can erase or change if you have any mistakes, and we can check and see how well you guys did in class next. Thank you for taking your notes over nouns and adjectives. Please bring any questions or comments you have for me to class. Adios, hasta mañana.